Welcome back to my Mental Health and Crime channel. My name is Huda London. This is the case of the Idaho quadruple murders that took place on the 13th of November 2022. May the 4 victims rest in peace. Condolence to their families. May the correct justice be served. This is Saeed, who's a member of Sigma Fraternity, the Sigma Chi Fraternity. Saeed was the person that the police, undercover police, stopped at the Banfield video. He was over 21. He had 2 cans of beers in his hand, but the police said that was okay because the cans wasn't opened. It was a very unusual timing that the police stopped them. It was the 3:01 call for the alcohol offense for the minors. They ain't minors actually, they're just under 21. I find it interesting that Saeed and the 3 young gentlemen who were stopped at the Banfield stop all seem to have come from the direction of Kings Road, 1122 Kings Road. The reason I say they could have come from Taylor Avenue, but it looked most likely they came from those directions. I wonder if the police have investigated them properly, because allegedly the 3 young gentlemen that got stopped by the police did not know which house they came from. 2 of them said they couldn't even remember who made the party. One of them said, I think his name was Matt. So you have 3 young men running away from the police, refusing to stop, walking in Banfield at the pitch dark of the night. They could have thrown weapons, they could have thrown evidence, they could have thrown anything in Banfield, because we didn't see any undercover police going to the field and putting their torches on and checking if anything was thrown there. We didn't even see the undercover police checking these young men's pockets. They seem to have their hands in their pockets. Inside the pockets, nothing was done. It was one of the most unprofessional police stops I have ever seen. But the question is, who called the police? Was that part of the crimes that were going to be committed? Was it to distract the police? Possibly. And while that Banfield stop was going on, a lot of other things was going on. Pay attention. Pay close attention to it. We had the figures running at 3:12, 12 minutes past 3. We had the black truck that could have belonged to DM, Dylan Mortensen, that was driving quickly. Just passed. And we had another car that was driving too, that many people thought it was a silver Hyundai. Many people thought that car belonged to Inan Harshtu. We don't know whose car it was, but I'm interested in the black truck. The black truck was driving exactly at 3:01. The alcohol offense stop started at 2:52, I believe, 2:53, and it continued on to 3:16. Or 3:14, I believe, somewhere around there. So all these things are going around between 2:52 And let's not forget 252 was the last call Kaylee and Maddie made to Jack D. That's Kaylee's former boyfriend. So I find these things to be very interesting. And then we have in the body cam of the police, we could hear from both police cameras. One was more clearer than the other camera. One was facing towards King's Road, Queen's Road, King Street, whatever it's called. And you could hear a female yelling, "Stop it! Stop!" I believe that is when the crimes were happening, when the quadruples were taking place. I believe Eaton and Zana, unfortunately, was already deceased before 2:30, 2:20. It was the two girls. It was the two girls that was most likely unlived around the timings of all these things going on coincidentally, allegedly. There's no coincidence here. These people planned or pre-planned whatever they did. Whether it was a last-minute thing, whether it was a preparation from a couple of hours before the murders, or a couple of days, or a couple of weeks, or a couple of months. It's an interesting timing because Kaylee came for her last lesson on Monday and, like her mother said, and she came to show off her car. Question was, who was so unhappy to see Kaylee leaving? So this is Saeed. Now this is Venmos that were sent around. Saeed S. paid David Berechoa on the 13th of November. This is after the murders, after the quadruples. Then Saeed S. charged Jackson Gustavell. Then Saeed paid David Berechoa. Again, this is all on the 13th of November. So there's Venmos going around. We have Eaton, who paid Jack K $6, and Jack K sent Eaton $6 for his memorial on the same day. Isn't that interesting? Was these people playing some kind of bet? Were they challenging each other? Were they paying each other for these gruesome attacks, allegedly? Because this doesn't make sense. David is the one on the right, David Berechoa, believe. This is a picture that I've showed plenty of times. This is David Lodge sitting on the girl's sofa that is outside on their porch. And I don't think the victims and the surviving roommates were aware of it. This came out in the beginning. This is definitely from the college students who sent it around. It was on social media. Look at him relax, having a smoke. He must be sitting there allegedly and planning what he's going to do next. That shows us that he wasn't scared. People weren't scared to sit at the back porch of the girl's house without them even knowing it. That's concerning. I wonder how much or how deep the detectives investigated the Davids from the 4chan. Trigger warning. This is the guy from Sigma Fraternity. He had this on his social media. He studies physics and all that, but that is still no reason to be so obsessed with death. These boys really have some weird, sick fantasies going on, allegedly, according to the 4chan. This has something to do with the anagrams. I'll just leave it here so that you can read it. This is speculation for the most of it when it comes to the 4chan and to such things. It could be speculation that has a lot of facts. Because speculations can't be so on point like the 4chan post. These were what people were writing on social media. Still can't believe this didn't gain more traction. Whoever they were, they posted those pictures, gave some weird ass riddles, followed by those lat-long coordinates. Then the other day, they popped up on like 2 or more threads, literally giving cryptic details and claiming they didn't know the people who lived there, basically alluding to being a Sigma Chi or SK. Says it's not their first time and won't be their last. Not in a sinister or intimidating way, more like explanatory and informative. Some Anins were asking questions and he'd answer. Other Anins were giving him shit and telling him to LARP elsewhere. His response to them was, I don't expect to be believed. That is why I can't post here freely. Something to that effect. I really believe that the fraternity boys needs to be checked. How come people are found dead after fraternity parties? From Hudson Lido to the quadruple murders, the 4 victims, to the boy who died in 2012. Both victims were found in Paradise Creek. And then you have this incident. It's literally